of the United States of America, and through the
and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mrs. Brew? Mr. Kramer? Mr. Kramer?
Here.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yeah.
Mr. Marraro?
Here.
Mr. Pop?
Here.
We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. If there's, I would need a motion on the approval of the agenda.
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes. Who seconded that, Trish?
I have Pop, seconded by Marraro.
We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. If there's no questions, we'll take each one separately. So I would need a motion in a second for each
I
one.
make a motion we approve regular meeting of July 18, 2020.
No, not July.
June
Or
1st,
June, or
2020.
May, sorry. Why am I thinking? It's May 18, 2020.
18th.
Support.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
We have a motion for the special meeting of May 19th, 2020.
I'll make a
Make a
special
motion.
motion for the meeting of May 19th, 2020.
Support.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
May 26th, 2020.
I motion that we approve the minutes for special meeting of May 26, 2020.
Support.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Special meeting, May 28th, 2020.
I make a motion that we approve special meeting May 28, 2020. Support.
Mrs. Brew? Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't there, guys.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
And then just so the public knows, these special meetings are all budget meetings. Manifest 2020-11. Scott, do you have any questions?
I just have one, Ray. I bring this up a lot. I know Mr. Triber's got a lot of stuff going on, but I see in the Department of Public Works, he has on here Norway Auto Parts, oil filter, cleaning strips. If he can just put what unit that is on, that's something that I've asked a couple times. What are we putting this oil filter on? It's something small, but I just like to keep track of that type of stuff. That's the only thing I have.
Got that, yeah.
Brett doesn't have anything?
I have none. I have nothing.
Jeff?
I'm good.
Lee?
Yeah, it seems like an awful lot of envelopes, but I see every department has envelopes and they're all 120/116, and that's 10 different departments. That's $1,200 worth of envelopes. I hope we have enough for a while.
They're pre-stamped.
Oh, okay. And got one other thing here, Ray. Under police department again, Chrysler World, sealed transmission, I assume, plug adapter, shaft up 674. Is that for that one we just had a while back with some work done to it, the fleet vehicle?
I don't know exactly which vehicle this is. I'll have to get the equipment number again, just like with
Okay.
department.
Question.
think I had one more item here. Hang on a second. Yeah, I'm sure this is an ongoing thing here, but under wastewater, sewer covers for the RD project, Vulcan. About halfway down.
Yeah, I'll have to check on that one for you, Lee.
Yeah, because it's $1,500 and get the number of sewer covers anyway. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, I had the same one from Chrysler World. And under the communications, I see it says cable modems. Were them kind of modems we just ordered, or? It's on 307, Ray,
307?
for $3,061.59.
Cable modems.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, I'll have to get more information for you.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'd hate to think that we're moving to the new DOCSIS modem, and we're buying the old ones, I
Yeah.
guess.
I'll have to double check on
That's
that.
what I was wondering on that.
Yeah. Good question, Candy.
All right, on 4 of 7, on electric department, let's see, middle of the page, border states, PDP fault inductor fiber optic cable. Why are we getting fiber optic cable for the light department?
I'll have to check on that for you.
Okay, and then a little bit farther down, Roebuck, and it says 2 skirt left pocket something, number 222, in the amount of $438.40. What is that for?
Probably is for the chipper, but I'll double check on that.
Okay.
You
Just
know,
'cause
Ray, as I'm looking at that electrical department too, I see on there, we got pumps, tire service, tires, valves, repair, disposal. You know, that's just something like I asked if we can get on that, you know, for what vehicle? What is this going on?
Okay.
Yeah, because I thought we just put tires on most of the vehicles there, but I don't know. Okay, and under the water fund, computer expense, handheld software. Do we have that every 2 months? Is that our handheld where we read the meters with?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's on 5 of 7. That's all I have. So I have a motion to approve manifest 2020-11.
I make a motion and we approve manifest 2020-11 in an amount of $370,290.90.
Second.
Pat Lee,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Menefee,
Yeah.
Mr. Marraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew.
Yes, and before we go on to the next, Ray, do you want to answer the questions from the last meeting?
Sure. I have to find that. My Okay, from the last meeting, we actually didn't have any outstanding questions from the last meeting.
I thought I had an outstanding question.
I did too. And they
Well,
were
we
in the,
had requests to summarize the IT charges.
Yes, that was mine.
Okay, that was, okay, we summarized all of the charges that came out to across all the departments to $70,265.59.
I had the question on the 25 mile per hour.
Okay, yeah, that was under the council comments. We had the question on the speed limit sign and actually provided you with a document from Attorney Carlson regarding the state law on prima facie road signs. And there's actually, if you're outside of the general community, like the lot and block, or the lots like we have in town, blocks, you have to actually have a speed study done, like Curry Road, Perney Lane, Valley View. And so we can't just put the prima facie 25 on those roads. It all has to do with the number of driveways and the distance. So we did get, they originally had all of the streets in that designation, but they changed that to include the core parts of the community that have a series of blocks. There we have the prima facie 25. That, if Grant, if you want to add to that, if you.
And I did read on that, but I just wanted for the public to hear.
Yeah. Grant, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that.
Ever so briefly, I think Mr. Anderson summed it up. We're dictated. We can't just set the speed limits as we wish, or as a community, frankly, maybe we would like to see them. That's one of the common questions we get is we wish we could slow things down a bit in certain areas. I think it's a bit ironic with the request for local control, but we have a statutory requirement that there's speed studies and extensive costs that would be required. And it looks at number of contact points or entry points on a certain road within a quarter-mile area, or a half-mile area, excuse me. So some of our areas just outside of town would probably see an increase in speed limit designation. So it's all done by statute and speed study. So we would have to go through and request a speed study. And the risk, frankly, would probably be that it would be a higher rate of speed because of our rural area.
You can bleep this out, but that's a bunch of bullshit.
It's one way of saying it.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I'd like to go back to the annual IT computer support and maintenance breakdown.
Is that in the manifest? If not, Jeff, let's just keep it for the council comments. Is that okay with you?
Okay,
Is that okay? Let's do that in the council comments.
sure.
Okay, that's a better. All right. See here. All right. Anyone wishing to address the council on any agenda item only shall do so now by using the question and answer feature. Raise your hand feature in Zoom. Telephone only attendees will be unmuted and given an opportunity to make their comments. State your name and address for the record. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes per person.
We have one attendee, and I am allowing them to talk right now. If they have a question, they can unmute themselves and ask. I don't have any questions coming in through the Q&A, and I haven't heard anything come through on the unmute.
Okay, thank you. We will need a motion to go into public hearing.
I motion that we go into public hearing.
Support.
Mr. Menegini,
Yes.
Mr. Marraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer.
Yes.
Fiscal year 2020-21 Operating and Capital Improvement Budget and General Appropriations Act. Mr. Anderson.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. We are entering into public hearing to go over our budget for the fiscal year 2020-21. We've had 6 budget hearings spread out through the month of May. Each budget hearing took a portion of the budget such as electric fund or communications fund, water, sewer. The city has 12 major funds. The utility funds are what we call our enterprise funds. They have a separate revenue as well as expense. And then we have one of the main funds is the general fund. That is where your tax dollars go into. And that has a general fund revenue stream and then a series of departments within the general fund. That's where your admin, our mayor and council, DPW, police, they all go into the general fund. At this point, we're estimating that the total across all 12 funds for the proposed for fiscal year 2021 is going to be on the revenue side, $12.553 million. The proposed expenditures will come in at $12,335,000. So our estimated revenues, or we're estimating revenues over expenditures across all 12 funds. The electric fund is our largest fund by both revenue and expense at roughly 32% on the revenue side, 30% on the expense side, followed by the general fund, which is 2.9 million on the revenue side. And this year we're right at 3 million on the expense. We will need to, unless we pull some capital out of the general fund, we will cover that shortfall through our fund equity transfer. In looking at our estimated actual for the previous year, fiscal year 1920, which ends at the end of June, we are anticipating that our general fund will be right at even. It's about $2,000 expense over revenue, but we did have originally $59,000 that was programmed out of fund equity. So over the course of the year, we managed to save that amount, so we didn't have to make that kind of transfer. From the general fund standpoint, the tax base is we did have an estimated increase of 2.15% in our taxable value across our community. But our millage rate will stay the same at our operating millage of 16.3942 mils. That will stay the same for this year. In fact, across all of our funds, all of our enterprise funds, we are going to hold all of our utilities and our fees and taxes the same. So there's no increases programmed in this year's budget for on the revenue side. So a couple of main topics that we had for our budget hearings. Of course, the main topic was road improvements. We are going to perform 3 road improvement projects this summer. We're going to address Norway Hill, or Main Street going up Norway Hill. We're going to address Perney Lane on the north side of Perney Lane. And then we're going to also address Summit. So we are going to take a transfer out of the electric fund to handle that project. But those projects will be completed by October 1st of this year. So
Ray, if I may, let's
Sure.
thank our wonderful dam
Yes,
for providing the funds for those projects, much needed projects.
yes, and out of the electric department, that, our main topic there is to, we have a couple projects that we're going to perform in this next fiscal year. We're replacing the hydro unit number 1 shaft number 2, our number 2 shaft. That was something that was identified in last year's project. And so we're moving forward with that as we speak. And we do have distribution projects, most notably District 5 Road. We're working our way south on District 5. And we do have a list of distribution projects that we know we're going to try and work through over the course of the next couple of years. And then we have the one of the bucket trucks that's going to be replaced coming up this next year. And in our conversation, That has a 12 to 16 month um, time frame. So we do have the amount, the $260,000 that is appropriated for the fiscal year 2021. Depending on the delivery, though, that may actually push into the 21-22 year. There's no money down on that vehicle purchase, so that's something that will keep the council appraised of.
Ray, can I get clarification on the overall numbers you provided?
Sure, absolutely.
I got 12.553 million is
Yep.
budgeted, correct?
That's the proposed for your fiscal 2021, yes.
And revenues are set at 12,335.
Yep, 12,335.
So we have a deficit of 218 right now, roughly.
No, the expenses are 12,335.
So we have a surplus of 218 right now.
Correct.
Thank you.
Ray, on the taxes, you said it's a 2.15% increase.
That's on the taxable value. That's,
Yeah, what does that generate?
well, every mill generates $57,000. So that 2%, increase right now on our taxes and the general fund, we're looking at about $18,000.
Okay.
So in the general fund, we break down the general fund. That's typically the most challenging fund. When we look at the property or the general fund revenues, we have a transfer calculation that is paid into the general fund by the utilities. That calculation is made based on a formula that we established with our auditor, appropriate formula, and it's based on percent of revenue from each department, and that actually brings in roughly 39% of our revenues in the fund. So that is one of the largest areas that help support the general fund. Property taxes are roughly 29.56% of our general fund revenue, which is $864,000. The state shared revenue or revenue sharing, which is sales tax, that just redistribution by the state, it's at $295,000 for this coming up year. That's our estimate at this point. It's just over 10% of our general fund revenue. Just a note, and I have this in our budget notes, that in say 2001, in that area, the revenue sharing was as high as 28% of our general fund revenue. So you can see how much that has dipped over the last 15 to 20 years. Starting in about 2003, we actually started to see a major decline, and it's slowly come back, but that has been a major disappointment that we haven't been able to come back to our pre-2003 levels in this area. The refuse collection, that's probably the third highest. That's 7.8% of our general fund revenue. And our refuse collection is 100% supported by the refuse fees that we charge. So there's no tax that goes into our refuse collection. On the expense side, we have roughly 27% comes out of our police department, $839,000. Our admin is roughly at 30% at $900,000, and the public works is about 18% of our general fund at $550,000. The other funds are buildings and grounds, refuse collection, recreation. City band is actually in our general fund. So mayor, council, they make up the other areas of our general fund. So I'm going to try not to go too quickly. If you have individual questions, I'd be happy to answer them as we go along here. Okay, hearing no other questions. One other area, we're talking about our major and local, excuse me. We have our major and local street funds. Out of those funds, that's where our road projects are gonna, our road projects get expensed. And the only other area of capital that we're going to handle out of the fund this year is the salt shed building that we're going to construct this summer. So that's one other item. So pretty much all of the other expenditures through the funds are operating expenditures. In the water and sewer, we do have some capital work through our asset management program that we identified, but we are going to take a very slow approach on the size of projects. We're going to try and do a number of projects in-house locally here to try and give ourselves a breather off of the major project we had just last year. So that's something that we're gonna move along. Both water and wastewater funds are projected in positive, but we want to move along and address some of the areas of concern, like the service line replacements. We have a really sound system, and we've been doing a lot of work in the water side for a number of years, and so the percentage of replacements is pretty low, but we're going to address those as we go along here with the opportunities that we have. On the sewer side, there's some local projects that we'll be able to address. We have a few smaller projects in the wastewater plant, but outside of that, we're gonna again take a breather this year, concentrate on our operations, and then we'll go into next year reevaluating those the capital plans. So at this point, I can open it up again for questions. If there's areas that you want me to highlight, by all means, let me know. I do appreciate all the hard work that my staff has done putting this together, getting the numbers together, and the hard work council has done over the 6 budget hearings. I know that the meetings are, I think they're very positive. We had a lot of good conversation through those meetings, areas of going back and forth and deciding which direction we want to go. And I do appreciate the council's patience and input, definitely, in giving guidance to staff to get the budget complete.
Ray, on the the money we get from the state, what was it, 213,000?
The revenue sharing dollars?
Yeah.
Is that 295?
So it was 295?
294,884.
Okay, when are we going to find out we're not getting that?
Well, those are actually the most up-to-date numbers that we have out of the state. They just had their last revenue conference about a week or so ago. We are going to they're probably going to have revenue conferences throughout the summer, and I anticipate though that there could be some negative effects depending on the economy through the summer. One of the areas that we did mention was that they have this work share program where it's what you heard from the state where they were furloughing, and that's something that would save the city roughly $15,000 a month if we were to put that in place, or $10,000 a month, I'm sorry, if we put that in place. And that's something that we'll have to keep on the discussion point.
Ray, the last time we talked, you said 1,300 a week. How do we get to 10,000?
Well, we added the police chief on that.
So you're thinking about furloughing the police chief 1 day a week?
1 day a week, yes. The salary employees out of the city hall. Because we do have police coverage during the day with an officer. And remember that majority of us are salary staff. So if we're furloughed for those 1 day a week, I mean, we take calls on a 24/7 basis. So, I mean, I do get those at home myself. I know Jim is always available. It's just a matter of, working within the state program.
So with furloughing the police chief, is that saying that we don't have work for him for full time during the week? Because he hasn't changed anything through this COVID, has he? Like his job services and duties every day? Like, is he doing less?
you know, what we're basically saying is that the workloads aren't changing. What we're going to be doing is that, you know, we'll handle our essential duties and make sure that nothing gets lost with that. There are some non-time dependent duties that might get pushed down and taken care of when we get we have available time. But I can tell you that we do the extra hours. You know, we're salary, so I mean, whatever it takes to take care of our business, we do it. It doesn't matter if it's in the evening, in the morning, in weekends. You know, we do that. We take care of that. So
Kind of like when somebody goes on vacation.
I have my phone with me when I'm on vacation, and I take the calls, and you know, I have my computer. So I mean, we're still working.
Do you want to explain though that this money, you would get unemployment for this money if we let
Yeah.
the employees do that?
Yeah, the way the program is set up is that the federal government has established this program, and that rather than having somebody 100% on unemployment, what they would do is you would take and you furlough everybody within the department, like would be the city hall, and instead of one person being gone 100%, you would go across everybody at say 20%, and then that particular day that you're furloughed, you would get unemployment, and you basically would you know, you'd be off that particular day. So what they're trying to do is
You also would qualify for the COVID pay, only being off 1 day a week.
yeah, we qualify for that COVID pay because you're doing this based on the COVID issue.
Yeah. I don't agree with this at all.
So
At all.
we just thought we'd make sure that the council was aware of the program and the saving of monies out of the general fund. This is something the state has been was real active today. Mary did most of the investigation on it. So I don't know Mary, if you have any comments that you want to make on it.
Yeah, it was a real hot topic on the listserv today, from the state level and then from other communities. There's quite a few communities taking advantage of it. Most of them downstate. I believe Iron Mountain's considering it tonight at their meeting. But as Ray said, we just wanted to get it out to you what the savings could be if you decided to go that route.
Well, I thank you for that information and working on it, Mary. But I can see it creating problems with the other unions down there. How about like the street department? How are those guys going to take it?
Well,
And one of the requirements of the plan, Lee, is that before we could move forward, Ray would have to contact the two unions that are involved with the office staff and get approval from the unions to do it.
I see. Okay.
Hey, Mayor. Hey.
Yep.
When you said you were on with these meetings today. Was that before or after the governor pretty much opened up everything as of the 8th?
Well, actually, the webinar I did was last week on Thursday.
Okay.
And they went over a lot of this. It became a pretty hot topic today because I think Michigan Treasury sent out emails again today encouraging communities to look at it. And but most of it that I got from the other communities was prior to her announcement.
Okay.
However, a few of them that I talked to and basically on the listserv were already fully open. And, you know, some of them were much larger communities, you know, than us that have a lot more to be saved. But most of them were already open communities.
I'd like to thank Mary as well, but and I'd like to thank Lee for his comments about the unions. But let's face it, guys, this is simple to me. There's not a money tree out back. Okay, this is federal tax dollars rolling to the state. Okay, so the state obviously wants us to take advantage of federal tax dollars. At the end of the day, we're all federal taxpayers, and so are our constituents and the people that are in our community. And this isn't free money, any way you look at it. Sooner or later, it's got to get paid back. Yes or no?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I agree with that 100%. That's why I'm not for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'd rather keep the staff on full time, pay them what they got coming, and let's move on. So I'm with Candy and I'm with Scotty.
So we wanted to make sure, and I personally just wanted to make sure that you knew that this was the program that they were, you know, putting out there for us as far as dealing with shortfalls or potential shortfalls that are come through the conferences this summer. I just want to make you aware of it. There's no other program that they have for municipalities. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the schools looked hard at this, because they're still talking about even probably a larger deficit out of there, and who knows what the school, you know, what the student component is this fall and how they're going to start up. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if the schools take a hard look at it. But
I don't know how the schools would be able to when this is considered to be done in the end of July.
Better money ain't gonna be there. Let's extend it.
No.
Exactly.
yeah, the estimate is, or they're estimating that they're going to extend it. That's the estimate. So all I'm saying is that we wanted to make sure that, you know, it's our job to make sure that you have all the information, and you know, this is a program that they're put out there. So
I appreciate you and Mary working on it and getting out the information to us. I just can't see doing something like this. 1 day a week, then, I mean,
I appreciate all the hard work as well, and I appreciate you bringing the opportunity to say this.
doesn't make
see
sense.
it.
So I don't have really anything other than words of wisdom for the budget. If again, if there's any other questions.
There's no other questions. Can I have a motion to go back into regular session?
I'll make a motion, we go back to regular session.
Support.
Trish, you're muted. You're muted, Trish.
Mr. Marrero,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Minigini.
Yes.
We'll move on to communications, resolution 2020-10, Mr. Anderson.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. The next two resolutions are budget style resolutions. We have, our first is 2020-10. It's our general utility and service rate resolution for fiscal year 2021. And again, as I mentioned, there are no increases programmed for any of the fees or the service fees, utility fees. So for council's consideration.
Ray, I have a question. I was wondering, I think it was last year, the year before, for our seasonal help, how come you lowered the rate on that?
On the next rate?
I think she's talking about the one person going from 15 to 13.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. You want to just take care of the fee structure first, and then we'll get into the.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm one ahead of it. That's fine.
Sure.
I make a motion that resolution 2020-10 general utility and service rate resolution for fiscal year 2020-21 be approved.
Madam Mayor, I have a question. Sorry, Scott.
That's right.
Ray, so we do have the proposed new high-speed internet
So what we did
packages
with
in
that,
here.
what we did with that is that, you know, we talked about, we're not quite sure what our rate structure is going to look like for that.
Okay,
So that's actually going to be a kind of a
down the line thing.
down the line thing the next
Good
couple of
enough.
months.
Good
So the actual fees are not going to change drastically.
Oh, right. Just wanted to see if we had moved those in there or not yet. So thank
Yeah,
you.
we didn't put those in there yet. We're going to keep the current structure right now, and then we'll come back with a revision on that.
Ray, when was the last time any of these were changed? Like, there's so much of this stuff, parking on sidewalk, $10, $10, $10, $10, $10. It isn't worth the time and effort to give them a ticket for $10.
Well, that's something that, yeah, it hasn't changed in quite a while.
Yeah. And I don't ever really remember discussing this very much.
I don't think I ever have.
No. That, like I said, that's something that hasn't changed in quite a while. There is an amount that is taken by the court, you know, depending on what type of ticket we're looking at. But it's just something that hasn't changed in many years. I mean, it's something that we could change, but the chief has, you know, he's gone through these on different occasions, and we haven't had any requests to change them.
Well, I think they should be more, but if the police chief is happy with it, I'm happy with it.
One thing I can do, Lee, is that we are going to have a revision coming up when we deal with the internet. What we could do is I could put this back in front of them, and we usually go back and check too with what other communities are charging for the different fees. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
we can do that, and maybe in the next couple months we'll come back if we have a recommendation.
Put it on the list.
Yeah.
Do I have a support on that motion I have?
I will support.
Mr. Pop,
yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Minigini,
Yes.
Mr. Marraro.
Yes.
Now we'll move on to the resolution 2020-11 pay rate for non-union employees.
So the question, to answer the question about the part-time rate, the DPW part-time rate is still $15 per hour. And in talking with the DPW foreman, he did not think that we needed that particular position this year. With the amount of work that was done between April, through April and May, he felt that a lot of their patching, a lot of the work was already done when we had a lot of that lockdown. So that was under his recommendation, actually. So we just didn't fill that particular seasonal position.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that as long as they're not doing the patching and stuff like that. And David would have to make up his mind. Either he is or he isn't. We're not going to come in and pay him, the person, more for that. Make up your mind what you want him to do. If you don't want him doing the things he did last year, I don't have a problem with lowering the rate. But if he's going to be doing the same sorts of things, then I think that we should still pay what we had out there.
I did have that conversation with him, Madam Mayor. So he was aware of, I think, our feeling on that. So.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I need a motion.
I make a motion, resolutions 2020-11 pay rate for non-union employees for fiscal year 2020-21 be approved.
Or you're on mute again, Trish. Dang it.
Who supported that?
I did.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Abstain.
Mr. Minigini,
Yes.
Mr. Marraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to DPW equipment repairs.
This particular request comes from shop foreman, Mr. Treiber. We had to repair the loader, the JCB loader, We went out and got 3 quotes on material pricing or equipment pricing, parts pricing. And Road Machinery had the lowest price, $5,789.41. And those are delivered prices.
It's a big discrepancy.
Has he worked with this outfit before?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's his typical a place he gets the JCB parts from.
So it'll be good for another 10 years.
Hope so.
Have a motion.
I'll make a motion that the Road Machinery and Supply Company be approved to supply replacement parts for the JCP loader for a cost not to exceed $5,789.41.
Or
Pop,
yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Mancini,
Yes.
Mr. Moraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew.
Yes. We'll move on. Contract with Meagle for electric vehicle charging station.
So this particular item came up in our budget hearing. I gave you a notice that we were being considered for the grant for an EV charging station. This is something the DDA has been championing earlier this year, and it's something that I think we feel like, being an electric utility and municipal electric, we were actually approached through the Michigan Municipal Electric Association from Eagle to work with them on trying to get some of these EV stations out into production. They did work with some of the investor-owned utilities, but they wanted to work with our municipal electrics because we have a broader range of interest. Part of that is that we also view it as a economic development tool. One of the ways to describe that is if you have somebody that's coming up from Chicago or Milwaukee and they're driving up through and they have an electric vehicle, the way that the charging station locations are spelled out is that they'll be looking for a station and they have an app, which hopefully they're not looking at when they're driving, but it'll actually come up and it'll show that we had the station. They'll come into town as opposed to driving on north, I'll say, through Iron Mountain or Crystal Falls. If they're heading up north that direction. I do know that Lance has installed one already in their downtown, and they're looking to put in a second. Crystal Falls is looking at installing a station here soon, and I know that they applied as well for the funding. So the Eagle did come back to us and said that we are awarded a grant for helping for this equipment, and the way that the grant's been spelled out is that 1/3 of the cost, they'll pick up 1/3 of the cost of the station, the Eagle will, under the grant. 1/3 is from the city and 1/3 is from the utility. And that's why they want to deal with the municipal electrics as opposed to the investor owns, as they feel like there's a better synergy in getting this moved forward. So we estimated the total project being just shy of $80,000. So we're looking at roughly a $30,000 grant. The DDA has already committed to picking up 1/3 of the city's portion of the cost, and we did budget the $30,000 in the electric fund for this project. So,
Madam Mayor, if I may, yes, I brought this up to the DDA last week or whatever it was, Ray, 2 weeks ago at our meeting, and we did get buy-in at that level that they thought it was they definitely felt it was a good good match of funds, electric department, them, and Eagle. So we did get that approval at that DDA meeting.
The only area I know around you that has one, Ray, is Florence. And I mean, now if we put this in, which is great as far as I'm concerned, it'll give these people with the electric cars like a destination they begin coming up on US 8 and 141 and whatever. And normally they go through Niagara and if they're going west, they'll go through Iron Mountain. Well, if they know it's here, they'll swing over and stop, and it takes a half hour, whatever it takes to charge up. It's right next to Mike's on Main, you know, and they might do a little shopping, go eat something. It's
Well,
great as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think we're locked into Mike's on Main just yet.
Wherever it is.
Right. I was actually thinking, I'm like, I don't know if we could do it, Ray, but a great place would be maybe Strawberry Lake. You got the walkway there, you know, then they got Main Street to walk, and, you know, just an idea, but, you know,
But
I don't know if you want
wintertime.
to lock into Mike's on Main just yet.
Yeah, we'll have to go through the whole siting exercise of where the best place to put it. But it definitely, we want it attached to the main street so that they get out of their car and they walk up and down the main street. And
That's the DDA buy-in. They want to bring people in there to eat and shop and other things.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
I motion that we approve the EGLE grant for electric vehicle charging station for a $99,000 with a matching fund from the city of $33,000.
Do I have a
Support. Support.
discussion?
Canadini,
Yeah, yes.
Mararo,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer.
Yes.
We'll move to approval Norway area compost site security camera.
okay, this last item on the agenda is a request. The council had us look at getting pricing for installation of the security cameras out at the compost site. We will be installing 2 cameras in this system, and the price for that is $3,808.40. This is a worst case scenario on the price. We've already been talking with OTEC about the possibility of lowering that cost, but I think we prove it at this number, and it would only go down if we could help out with getting it installed. I did talk with Norway Township, and they said that they would be interested in picking up half of it as part of our area compost site.
So our cost would be $1,904, $1,904
And 20 cents.
and 20 cents.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the way that we would do it though is you would approve the total amount because we would be invoiced the total and then we invoice the township back.
Okay. Now here's the thing, that question I have. We put these cameras out there, which I'm for. We need some type of control out there. We catch whoever's doing this, you know, with the issues that we have going on out there. What can we do to them?
Illegal dumping.
Grant, do you want to answer that question?
I hope it's not like the speed limit thing.
Sometimes you got to put a round peg into a square box and make it work, right, Lee?
There you go.
I had the privilege of using our fine Norway City internet as you guys were chatting about this in anticipation. I was just looking through ordinances to see if there was something that might apply. And I guess what I would suggest is that simultaneously with putting enforcement measures in place doesn't do any good without any teeth to back it up. So I didn't see in our ordinances per se that has language regarding prohibition on illegal dumping out there. So it doesn't, I think it needs to go hand in hand. If we're going to have the cameras, we need to have both a mechanism to enforce it and a hammer to follow through with it in the event violators are caught doing so.
We want a big
Okay,
hammer.
so on something like this, do we need the township's approval for our ordinance?
Scott, can you hang on 1 minute?
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of background noise here and I don't know where it's coming from. A lot of
I have
smash.
none here.
You're not hearing it?
No, ever since Chris was started muting people.
Okay. All right, go ahead. I don't hear it now.
Don't hear you're good? Okay, so my question is, do we have to have the Norway Township approval for our ordinance that we're gonna put in place out there? If they're, since they're paying for half and they are actually part of the compost site.
I don't think so. I mean, it's in our jurisdiction.
It's in the
Okay.
city limits, so we can police it. The city can police it. And there's also, there is language within the solid waste ordinance that deals with the composting and brush.
Didn't we come
I
up
think
with that a year or two ago, Ray? I thought size, and we talked about the size of disposal.
I think what we've done in the past, and we've did this with the Parks and Rec ordinance as well, or the property ordinance as well, is that there's language that allows for us to set rules. And so I think what we'll do is, you know, we pass the cameras, we move on getting them installed, but we need to establish a set of property rules and regulations, however format that is. I know we talked about it out on Oakcrest Drive as well, the properties that we own out there. And I'll work with Mr. Carlson about putting that in front of you here shortly, you know, so that
Hopefully we can get that. If we approve these, if these cameras get approved, I'd like to see it at our next budget meeting or our next city meeting, council meeting, so we can get that enforced, because like Grant said, that's the way avenue I was going down.
Yeah.
Why are we putting cameras out there if we don't have any rules?
Agreed.
I seem to recall, Ray, maybe when we were talking about this maybe a year ago, I seem to recall, and I'll take a look at the memos and some of the research I've done in the past. I thought we talked about this at least, and we looked into and compared some of their compost sites and looked at the width of the trees and what was suitable. So I think we have talked about, so I can maybe just brush that off and dig it up and get
How
that
about
turned around.
how about a big fat $500 fine?
Yeah,
Whatever council's discretion is.
We want it to end.
Yeah, 'cause it's just costing us more. I mean, it's right when the guy comes in to clean our stuff up, you know, chop it all up, it's just costing us more, you know. And I'm seeing lumber out there with nails in it, you know. It's just there's a lot of stuff being dumped out there.
Yeah.
The trees that I put my foot on, I took a picture of it. I put my foot on it, on the stump or on the cutoff part. There's a size 12 boot on there, and it looked like it was 3 inches compared to the rest of the tree that was there. I mean, it's being overused. It just, people aren't following by the rules out there.
Yep.
I'd like to thank all the council members for approving this, because I've been fighting for this for 5 or 6 years. Get cameras out there.
It just goes to show you, Lee.
Government moves
Persistence
slow.
pays off, buddy.
Well, it's not approved yet.
Yeah.
No, I would need a motion for that.
I make a motion that GoTech be approved the purchase and install the Norway area compost site camera system for the price not to exceed $3,808.40.
I'm not going to steal Lee's thunder. You go, Lee. You go.
I will support.
Roll call.
Mr. Marraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Menegini.
Yes.
You should have voted no, Lee. It would have been funny.
Anyone wishing to address the council on any item of interest shall do so now by using your question and answer feature. Raise your hand feature in Zoom. Telephone only attendees will be unmuted and given an opportunity to make their comments. State your name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person.
We have one attendee. There are no written questions, but I have allowed Betsy Bloom to speak if she wants to unmute herself.
No questions?
I am not seeing anything.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to mayor and council comments. Scott?
Yeah, I got a couple things. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's been doing their part, because as of today, those that didn't watch anything, the governor opened everything up supposedly on the 8th. You know, we're pretty much opened up on everything. So I appreciate that. Everyone did really do their part. A question, Ray, I have is, now that everything's being opened up, our facilities are going to start being used. Who was in charge with the pump out at Strawberry Lake to get our water, or to get the field for the irrigation system?
Well, we're working with Coleman Engineering to finish up the contract. Beck's Ornamental and Turf is, we have to put they need to finish up charging up that pump, installing and charging that pump. And so we're trying to get them back on site to finish that work.
Okay. Another thing is, and this goes back to the COVID, this is just me. I mean, this is something that's, I don't know if it's whatever. I think as of now, I think City Hall should be back open as of Monday the 8th. I also think that we should be opening up the Norway water spring.
Here, here.
I agree. City Hall should be opening. I know you said St. George Glass isn't going to be here till July.
No.
I'm sure we can find somebody to get some plexiglass and hang something. I mean, Family Dollar's got plastic in there.
Get 6 mil plastic, that'll be plenty.
Yeah, and I agree. City Hall
All we
needs
need.
to.
Well, I'd like to get the meetings back into chambers where, you know, everyone's face to face instead of over cameras. I do get a lot of people asking when City Hall opening, because they want to go in and ask the questions that whatever they have issues with, that they don't feel comfortable talking over a phone, which I don't know. Some people, everything's going to texting nowadays, and our older community doesn't text, so they'd rather talk in person. But I would like to see City Hall open, weekly opening now as of the 8th, being, you know, 100%, not 100%, but we are open. And I'd like to, again, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that did their part through this. We're still not in the clear, but we're a lot better than what we were 3 weeks ago, a month ago, even yesterday. So I'd like to thank everybody for that. That's all.
Brett?
Most comments and everything were made by Scott that I had to say. Again, I'd like to see the spring open as soon as we can. Other than that, thank you to everybody.
Jeff?
Yeah, definitely. Brett, Scott, Candy, of course. City Hall, Monday morning, 8th. Let's do what we got to do. Get it back open for our citizens. Spring, I want to get a plan together for that. Get that opened up. And I'd like to bring up the fireworks, Ray. Short of the governor saying no, come July 4th, I want to come up with a plan. Public safety included, of course, with our police department. But I'm putting it on the table right now that we should hold our fireworks this 4th of July.
Well, we said we were going to.
Are we?
Yep. Iron Mountain, in a conversation I had a few days ago, what we wanted to do was, if we wanted to both hold them, okay? There's a number of communities that aren't doing their fireworks, but we felt like if we were having ours and Iron Mountain was having theirs, that we would be able to spread the people across both fireworks, and we felt really good about that. And so we're going to. I told David to get those fireworks, and we're going to have that. As far as the events go, like the parade and some of the other stuff, you know, we don't manage any of the activities, any of the events. So we work with event organizers. But those are things that are a little more dicey as far as
Yeah.
we're getting.
Yeah, no issues at the parade, but
Yeah.
I think the fireworks.
Well,
we need to.
we plan to move forward with the fireworks.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. And I want to again thank everybody for all the hard work through these tough times. Thank to the council, Ray, the staff, City Hall staff, all the city workers, all the citizens for doing their part.
Jeff, Candy had brought, or the mayor Madam Mayor brought up something that you were going to bring back in council comments at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Just a comment on the annual IT computer support maintenance. Empower. I'd just like to see a breakdown, Madam Mayor and Mr. Anderson, of what we're getting on some of these support contracts annually. I mean, we're spending over $70,000 a year, which is, you know, $5,250 a month, straight up support type stuff, right? That's a chunk of change, right? I'm not saying we don't need it. I'm not saying I just like to see a breakdown. Chris can probably help me out on the Go Tech stuff. You know, I like to get Mr. Brown back in here and see what I mean, $7,900, and you're talking 700, almost 650 a month for support for their just on a support contract for the MMS software. I mean, that's $650 a month. That's a chunk of change. Again, I'm not saying that it's not legit, but I like to just start seeing breakdowns in some of these things. I'd like to see a breakdown on North Star support contract. That's over $1,000 a month. And if that's part of our WPPI agreement, I can understand that. But again, and I'd also like to see some of these things bid out. It's just that simple. You know, I don't want to give I don't think anybody on this council wants to give anybody a blank check, in any way, shape, or form each year. Especially when you're talking about, you know, 70 grand. This stuff's totally up to. My
That
2
one,
cents.
I got a question for you though, on that one. How do you bid out a support contract? You'd have to change software. I mean, the support contract, that's software that we have. So if we bid that out, I mean, you'd have to change your software package.
Well,
I mean, that would-
again, no offense to Chris, because I think Chris does a great job. But you know, you got 25 grand in Go Tech. That's not proprietary stuff. So 40% of your budget right there is non-proprietary. Okay? That's simple, Ray. It's not proprietary.
What? That's fine. I mean, I'm just saying.
Empower,
this other stuff is-
that's fine. 7,900, that's great. I want to know, all I'm asking is, what are we getting for our $7,900? How much are we using the software? How much updating are they doing? What's going on? Just simple questions. I'm not asking to change software, any of that. I just want to know where we're spending these dollars and what we're getting for our dollars. That's it. And again, I don't think anybody's doing anything wrong or we're not spending good money. I just would like to have some clarification on that personally. That's all, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Lee?
Yeah, I agree with Jeff on most of the things he said. But I mean, you're talking $70,000. That's like another employee in the office. And supposedly all this computer stuff was supposed to save us. Well, so much for that. And I don't care what Iron Mountain's going to do with the fireworks, but the chief of Norway Fireworks Fire Department says he has a full go on it. Saturday, I saw half a dozen of the firemen, and I asked them personally, I said, hey, we have no problem with going ahead with the fireworks. So that's a goal. The only other thing I have is congratulations to all the graduates. It's not exactly a normal graduation for them, but
Thanks, Lee. It was
It
tough
is
for
what
me.
it
It took
is.
me till 53, but I finally
And-
did it.
and then again, I'd like to thank for early on there, Ray, for all the questions that you had answered. One of them was the IT thing, and that's all I have.
I also have a few comments. I'll be echoing some of my council members. I agree with Lee, everybody else with the fireworks, and I'm glad we're doing them. I mean, I understand working with Iron Mountain, but we're Norway. We need to make our own decisions, whether Iron Mountain or Kingsford or anybody else around is doing the same things. I think we need to get back into meeting in the council chambers also. And I really echo City Hall needs to open. So we need to prepare for next Monday. Unless somebody doesn't agree with that, I think we got to prepare for next Monday to open up our doors. mean, and at this point, I feel like people have to make their own choices and their personal choices, whether they want to come in or not. People can still pay outside. They don't have to come in if they don't want to. I don't agree or disagree with anybody's choices. I think it's everybody's personal choice to whether they want to wear a mask, not wear a mask, you know, unless it's governed by the governor that we have to have them on. Congratulations to all the graduates. I wanted to say that too. I'm sure it was hard for the parents and family members not to all be there. Still think the school did a nice job trying to get things done for the graduates, and I wish them luck in the future. Ray?
I have one more thing, I'm sorry. 4th of July parade, is it officially canceled yet? The American Legion wants to know. As they run it.
We're not the organizers, so we have to find who.
So is it up to the Legion then?
It's up to the organizers. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, up to the organizers,
It's up to the
okay.
governor, isn't it, right now? I mean, she's only opened up 100-person gatherings outdoors right now, and we're gonna be over 100 people. So I think you're still up in the air with
Yeah, but that's a month away.
Miss Whitmer. Just bringing it up to you, Lee. That's all I'm saying right now.
Just in a comment in that too, even though it's 100-person gathering, it's not like they would all be gathering together.
I agree 100%, Dan. You know that 100%. But I'm just saying, if we're going to follow the executive order, we'll have to see what she says about parades come closer to the 4th.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was just speaking the fireworks. And if the governor comes in and says no fireworks, then we will abide by that rule. Or if the firemen decide they don't want to do it, I would abide by that rule. But otherwise, I think the fireworks will go on.
Agreed.
Mr. Carlson?
Nothing. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Henry?
No, I have nothing, Candy.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion we adjourn.
Support.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes?
Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Menegini,
Yes.
Ferraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop.
Yes.
Good seeing you all. Hopefully see each other in chambers soon.
Yep.